Welcome back, you guys. I am Ariel Onstad. It is great to have you here. So, as technology continues to progress, Instacart and OpenAI are teaming up to allow you to buy your groceries through ChatGPT. This is really interesting, and I want to unpack and explore it with Assistant Professor Naseem Mousavi. She's from Georgia State's Robinson College of Business. Naseem, thank you so much for joining me this afternoon.
Hi, thanks for having me.
So Naseem, big question to start off, right? How does this work? How is Instacart working with OpenAI, and how are you able to buy your groceries through ChatGPT?
Instacart has been integrated with ChatGPT to let people shop for their groceries by having a conversation instead of searching item by item in the store. You can say things like, I want to bake holiday cookies or help me plan a week of meals. And ChatGPT turns that into a grocery list, lets you review it, and then check out through Instacart.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the video. This is Justin Paul, bringing you some tech news here, and it looks like Instacart is, working with OpenAI and their ChatGPT platform to allow you to have a conversation within ChatGPT, and it's going to be integrated with Instacart and DoorDash, and it's going to allow you to it'll create a shopping list for you, and um as you see on the screen, you can have the delivery within the time frame that is set up. It's going to come up with all of the ingredients needed, and I think this is pretty neat. I'm always adaptable to new technology, especially if it's going to be helpful for people who are on the go, or people who just don't have the time to sit and go through each item. And you want to have a different variety of options for people to use, as far as shopping, anything that I feel would make life a little bit easier. I'm all for it. We're gonna be having people who are not really into it and stuff like that, but it just isn't gonna be for you. But this is some pretty exciting news in my opinion. Like I said, in some previous videos about AI, they're working to have AI integrated into our daily lives. It is hard to find apps and stuff like that to where you won't, first be talking to an AI agent at first. If you go to their support and help, and even when you call into customer service, you're gonna be speaking to an AI. I remember ordering a pizza, and I was ordering it with the AI voice, AI voice agent. Uh, it it worked seamlessly for me. I was able to tell them exactly what I wanted. They understood my order. They gave me a total, and they gave me a time when I could come pick up the order. So, like I said, this is going to be for those of us who are adaptable and are very excited about new technology that is introduced. And, we just try to work with it. And we know, of course, there may be some bugs in the beginning, but this is very, very exciting news.
The interesting thing here is that you can do all of this without leaving the ChatGPT app. It's like you have a personal shopper for yourself.
I think a lot of people might hear that and go, what's not to love in that sense, right? I think we all want our lives to be easier. Going grocery shopping can take up a lot of time. So thinking about AI as a personal shopper, probably a really good upside. Are there any downsides? Anything that, could be a con of this experience?
Yeah, definitely. So one important thing here is that it is based on AI, and AI needs to understand you very well. So you need to explain everything to AI in the best way, so it can understand what you want actually for your meal. Otherwise, it might give you some nonsense results or some recipes that you might not be interested in. Another thing is, since the AI handles becomes part of your decision making in grocery shopping. Customers may become less aware of specific items or their prices or even the amount of groceries that they are going to purchase. And these, when items are are suggested automatically, it's easier to add more than intended, and that could increase customers spending a little bit.
So yeah, those are some of the cons of this. Um, you want to make sure you checking the prices before you check out. You also are able to see if there's any alternate or similar items to the items that are on that list. I always say don't ever get too personal with AI, but in this type of instance, you do want to be specific as far as the type of ingredients you want, whether organic or not. Um, Maybe the type of brands that you like. Those are things that you can feed into the AI. You know, versus feeding so much of your personal life into the AI type of thing like that. But yeah, those are some cons, which those cons have most answers to. Like I said, tell them specific brands that you like, whether it's the store brand or whether it's a well known popular brand. Let them know maybe the price range that you want to stay within for a certain item. All those are going to be key things that you definitely want to let the AI know. And it's like AI, it learns from what you input to it, and it keeps that information so it can suggest the best things for you. So yeah, I do see those as cons, but those are cons that are workable ways that you can work around those cons.
That's a good thought. A question that comes to my mind automatically with AI is, could there be a dynamic pricing situation where if AI gets to know you really, really well, maybe it understands how much money you make or how much you're willing to pay for groceries. Someone else might say, hey, that's too much money for me, I'm not going to do that. Maybe you say, hey, I'll do it. And as a result, you get more expensive items. Can that happen as well? Could this affect the price and how much you pay for groceries?
Yeah, that's an interesting question because Instacart was testing AI-based dynamic pricing actually. That resulted in different shoppers being shown different prices for the items. The purpose was evaluating customer behavior. However, due to criticism and negative response from customers, it has ended this experiment by today. Customers didn't like that because they thought it was not fair to see different prices, and many also felt it reduced their trust and look like companies are trying to use technology to charge them more. So they ended this experiment and they are not going to use a dynamic pricing for now.
Yeah, I don't agree with the dynamic pricing thing. If it says, what is being explained, if an item is $2.99, it should be $2.99 across the board for everybody, no matter if they can spend more or less. Don't adjust the prices of what they are at retail, to make extra money now. That's one thing you definitely have to be wary about. Um, I don't agree with that at all. Like I said, if I go to the store and no matter if I'm making 200K, 100K, 50K, if I pick up some eggs that are 2.99, I feel like all three demographics of those customers, they should they should be paying 2.99 for those eggs. So I mean I agree with that.
Okay, good to know. Yeah, that was a big thought that I had because I had seen that in the news. Final question for you, Nasim. How might this affect restaurants and the grocery market overall?
Yeah, if grocery shopping gets easier, more people may choose to cook at home instead of eating out, which might put pressure on restaurants. And for grocery market, it can result in higher sales because of the convenience. It is making the shopping experience faster and more convenient. At the same time, it can also increase competition among grocery stores, and that could put price pressure on them and decrease the prices for customers.
Great to know. Nasim, it has been an absolute pleasure.
So, this was I feel like this was great insight on the new technology that is being rolled out between Instacart, DoorDash, and ChatGPT. All of this is going to be a trial to see how well and how effective it is. I'm excited to try to use it and see, what the good and the bad about it, because it's always going to be good and bad about, pretty much anything that's dealing with technology. It's going to work for some, it's not going to work for others. So we'll just see what becomes of this. I'm going to go ahead and close out, guys. Again, I do appreciate everyone who has subscribed to my channel. If you do like my content, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. This is Justin Paul. Peace.